Hello there, and welcome to the Meaningful Stitch. This is episode 61, and I'm Amy Palmco, and I'm coming to you from Edinburgh, Scotland, and this is where I like to share my knitting practice and my knitting projects, although I also have some crochet to show you today as well, so maybe I need to adjust that slightly. At the top of each of these episodes, I really like to share with you a card that I have drawn, and today is no different. I've drawn a card from this particular deck here, Femme, the Oracle deck by Anette, Pirso and Israel Gonzales. It is a beautiful deck. I actually think it's on sale just now because I think it's going to be reprinted, so the older copies are on sale, so worth checking out. I'll pop a link to that and everything else that I'm mentioning in the description box below. But this is the card that I've drawn to show you today, and this is Aphrodite, and it's self-love. I'm just going to read you a little bit from the guide. Now, where is it? There it is. Okay. Aphrodite arrives to remind you of the importance of eternal self-love. Many do not realize just how little emphasis they place upon their own happiness beyond the mundane. Your job, family, and relationships may require attention, but how often do you take the time to love yourself? To know love for oneself is to become open to the love of others, and Aphrodite seeks to aid you in this endeavour. Practice taking a few moments each day to reflect on the words, "I love myself, I have patience with myself." Approach your wants and needs with an open mind rather than with any form of judgment. When we honour our hearts with the respect we deserve, we embrace the true meaning of love itself. I completely love that we have Aphrodite as our goddess for this particular podcast episode, not least because the planet Venus has entered into the sign of Aries, and if ever there was a good description of Venus in Aries, it would be self-love. I think it's really an invitation, this particular moment, to explore what actually does bring us pleasure, what does bring us joy, what does it look like to really love ourselves, and what does it mean to desire. Aries is all about, the beginnings of things, the flare, it's the vital spark, it's our passion, and that really connects us to our sense of our own desire. And I think particularly as women, we are kind of taught from quite a young age to be desirable, but not necessarily to be desiring. So what does it mean to be a desiring woman, a woman who desires? And what is it that you particularly desire? What is it that you want? Sometimes, again, it's easier to identify what our needs are and less easy to identify what our wants are. But yes, maybe Aphrodite and Venus in Aries will be helping us out with all of this. As I mentioned, Aries is also about beginnings, and so it could be about cast-ons, casting on that which we desire. I think that sounds good. Well, in that case, let me start then with a new project that is coming out, a new pattern that is coming out on Friday, this Friday, and it's called the Burl. You might have seen it. I've been working on it for quite a wee while now. I actually started on this last year, and you may have already heard the story of the Burl, but let me sort of cycle back a little bit and tell you it from the beginning. So I was given a beautiful shawl from my grandma that she knitted for herself when she used to go out dancing in the dance halls with my granddad. And it's a beautiful shawl. I've got it here. Let's put down my cup of tea to show you. This is the shawl. Now it's interesting, whenever I show this shawl, people always get in touch with me and tell me that it's crochet, and it's not crochet, it's absolutely knitted. It's knitted mesh. The reason why I know that is because my grandma can't crochet and she knows she knitted it and she told me. So yes, this is a knitted shawl, and it's in this beautiful black mesh, and it's got this rather fabulous long fringe. I wear this shawl a lot. It's in fact, as I'm putting it on just now, it smells of my perfume. Don't you love that about a shawl when it kind of takes on the smell of your favourite perfume? So, so yes, I wear this shawl a lot. I love the fringing. The fringing I find just really fun because of the movement of it and the drama of it. It feels like it elevates the whole piece into a showcase. So I just, yeah, I love this shawl very much. It has a really interesting, and I'm blowing out, sorry, apologies. See if I can show this. It's got a really interesting centre spine. You can just see it there, those slightly larger eyelets that are coming up the centre there. And yeah, like I said, it's all over mesh, as you can see. So I decided that I would really like to create my own version of this particular shawl. And rather than having the all over mesh, I wanted to make it a little bit more solid, but still provide some eyelets. And yes, I really wanted the emphasis to be on the fringe. I also really liked the idea of having the larger eyelets providing the centre spine, the centre increase. And so this is what I came up with. This is the Burl. So as you can see, we've got these bands of stocking stitch, or stockinette, and we've got these rows of eyelets. We have an integrated I-cord border for a really lovely seam there, and we have these larger eyelets providing the increases down the front, down the middle, and then we have all of this rather fabulous fringing. Now, I've knitted this sample in Ginger Twist Studios Sweet Flax 4-ply, which is a baby alpaca. I'm saying it now, and I'm second guessing myself. Hang on a second. It's 50% baby alpaca, 25% linen and 25% silk. It's a really luxurious fibre, and it's such a perfect one for summertime. It drapes really beautifully, and because of the silk and the linen, I think it makes for some fabulous fringing, because it's not kind of getting caught in itself, and it can move really freely. Now you'll see here that I have 3 layers or 3 tiers of fringing. This fringing is a little finer than in another version that I've done. So basically what I've done is I've wrapped my yarn around the width of a DVD box, and I've done that twice. So basically that's going to create 2 strands on the front and 2 strands on the back. And then when I cut it, I've got a tassel of 4 strands. You can see there. And then I've attached it to the lower edge there through the eyelet. But when I've come to do these ones up here, I've gone through the top strand and the bottom strand of each eyelet with my crochet hook and pulled my loop through of yarn through there to create my fringing. And really you could place your fringe wherever you like. That's the kind of the point of this. Anywhere that you have an eyelet row, you could add a fringe. So you could go absolutely daft with this. You could go as exaggerated and fabulous as you wanted. Or you can just do a row at the very edge. Now I've knitted a second one. This is in the colourway Lallybroch, but I've knitted another one in the colourway Design of a Decade. I'm going to pop up some photographs of that just now. The reason why I don't have it is because I've already given it to my grandma, because she turned 92 last month, and so this is really very much my tribute to her. She is the one that taught me how to knit, and it's something that brings me such joy, and it really allows me to consistently express myself in the world. And so I just really wanted to create something that honoured her, and so I gave her the other sample. So let me, oh there it is, this is the colourway here. So this is Design for a Decade. It's one of Ginger Twist's more variegated shades. It's a really stunning one. And this is the Lallybroch. So this is how much I've got left after adding all of the fringe. Each shawl takes 2 skeins. and that's whether you do the one with the 3 tiers, so you'll see you don't have very much yarn left over, but you do have some, and this is what I have left from doing the heavier weight single fringe, because in that particular shawl, when you're just adding the fringe to the lower level, to the border edge, I've actually wrapped it 4 times to create an 8-strand fringe sections. So yes, that's a slightly heavier weight, but because you're only adding it to 1 tier, you use slightly less yarn. So Ginger Twist very kindly got in touch with me and said they would be really interested in putting together some kits for the Burl shawl. And so I of course said yes, that sounds like a lot of fun. So I got to go in and choose some colours, and they've put together some kits so that you can buy a kit from Ginger Twist. Now let me show you what colours I chose, because they've given me the yarn to show you, and then I can show you the palette. So you already know this is Lallybroch, so this is definitely one that's in the palette. Palco's palette, I think is what we're going to call it. So yes, Lallybroch is going to be there. Design of a Decade is going to be there. There's that incredibly beautiful skein there. Oh, stunning, stunning. I just love this colour so much, and it suits my grandma just beautifully. So there we go, that's that. And then we have Bourbon and Water. I was going to say Bourbon on Water, but I knew that wasn't right. Bourbon and Water. So it's this beautiful sort of soft goldy beige shade. Isn't that stunning? I could just imagine that as a burl. And then we have Cobblestone, which is this incredibly elegant dark grey. I think this would look so beautiful as an evening piece. I could really see this is like a gorgeous summer. If you were like going on summer holidays, this would be a really lovely piece to knit. But if you were going out in the evenings and you just needed something like to cover your shoulders, I think the Cobblestone would be stunning. And then the other colour, which I just couldn't resist, is this one here, and it is Silky. Now, if anybody knows me, you may know that I have a particular affection for the Selkies. The Selkies are the sea people. They're from the folk tales of the far north of Scotland, around about the Orkney area, which is where some of my ancestors are from. And so I have this real affinity, that's the word, affinity with the Selkies. So this is a beautiful colour. Again, it's slightly variegated, and these gorgeous tealy greens. So those are the colours that we've put together. So these ones here, and yes, the original Lallybroch. So that's the palette. So there's going to be kits available. So each one's going to have 2 skeins plus the pattern. And that's going to be available on Ginger Twist. And the pattern itself is going to be available on Ravelry and on Payhip. That will all be launching this Friday, so you'll be able to get that. If you are a Patreon, you will of course be able to get your copy of the pattern at a discount, so I will set all of that up for you. So that is super exciting. That's all happening, like I said, at the end of this week. It's something I've worked quite long and hard on, and I'm really pleased with it. I'm really proud of it. It's the first pattern that I've brought out in a year. I brought out 3 in quite quick succession. So we had the Gallus scarf, followed by the Korean poncho, and then we had the Gither cowl, and then an update to that pattern with the scarf. So, but like I said, it's been a wee while now since I've launched a pattern, and with that comes a certain amount of nerves. But I really believe in this pattern. I think it's very beautiful. I love wearing mine. I think you might really love wearing yours. I've already started on another one. Let me show you. Let me show you, because I do think that this pattern could really allow us to access some of those scrappy bits that are in our stash. So I'm knitting one using Drops Nord. It's quite a dark navy shade. You can see that. And I'm going to, I'll just show you how far I've got. which is not super far, but I just started. So here we are. As you can see, it's like a top-down construction. So we start here with an I-cord tab cast on, and I've given you full instructions on how to do that in the pattern. And then I've started knitting down. So how many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4 eyelet rows in out of 12. So I've got a wee bit still to go. And then I went through my stash and I found that I had these 2 leftover pieces. What's going on here? These 2 leftover balls of Crazy Zauber ball in the colourway Route 66. And I thought that would look really quite fabulous as the fringing. Now I may even mix in some of the alpaca, the drops Nord, to create the fringing, but I think that could be really very fun. And then I had another idea because I think you could just have so much fun with playing with the fringe on this particular accessory. What if I knitted one using this mystery 4-ply? If you're anything like me, you've got a few mystery skeins in your stash. Mystery 4-ply, just in this neutral white. And then what I have is my friend Claire, who's on the side on Instagram. She and I split 2 9-note bundles from Pearl Soho to create our shimmer shrugs, and mine had the main colour of dragon fruit and the contrast colour was begonia. And then after I'd knitted mine, I passed all of that on to Claire, and she knitted hers with the main colour as begonia, and her contrast colour was dragon fruit. And then she used some of her leftovers anyway of begonia to create a beautiful striped jumper. And I just met her the other week there, and she gave me back the leftovers of the dragon fruit. So I have all of these, and I put them in these wee IKEA bags and numbered them because it's such a stunning gradient from Pearl Soho, and it's really gradual. It really is very effective. But that makes it kind of harder then to figure out which ball goes where. So I had to number them all. So I've got 9 little bags in here. And in fact, that's 9. So that's the lightest colour there. Where's one? Oh, there's one. And there's one. So it goes from that light pink to that darker pink. So I was thinking, well, what about if I knitted a white base, so the shawl is white, and then added in this amazing gradient pink fringe. So that's another idea that I'm really excited about too. So I've got the Zauber ball fringe, I've got the 9-note gradient fringe, and then my mum has knitted a sample, and she decided to knit it in some yarn that we picked up on our trip to New York. Vogue Knitting Live, that's what it was called. I nearly called it New York Sheep and Wool, and I knew it wasn't that. We went there in January to celebrate my mum's birthday. We had a wonderful time, and we both picked up a fair amount of yarn, not masses, but a fair amount. And we both picked up 2 skeins of this yarn, which I'm just going to reach down here and get. There we go. Oh, one has already fallen out the bag. And this is from Barra Tricot, who are I think they're a Quebec company. And yes, this is the yarn that I bought, which is in the colour Purple Dragon, which is, I mean, this is actually the first purchase I made. It was calling to me from across the room because it is just fabulous. So I bought 2 skeins. And Mum bought 2 skeins. I cannot remember the name of the colourway that she bought hers in, but it's not far off this kind of shade here, this lovely silky shade. And so she has knitted her sample using this. Now it is 70% silk, 20% mohair, and 10% nylon. And you'll see it's kind of got this sort of squiggly texture to it. Well, it made for just the most gorgeous burl. So I'm going to if she says yes, I will pop up a photograph here so that you can see it too. But I imagine it will be going up on Ravelry at some point too. But it is honestly just a really lovely shawl. So it made me fish out my two skeins and have a wee think about, you know, whether I was going to cast on a Burl in those colours as well. But like I said, I think there's so much fun you could have with this, not least thinking about some of the scraps that you might have. Maybe you could make up multicoloured fringing. I think that would be a lot of fun. And yeah, I just think, you know, the possibilities are endless. Perhaps I am thinking so much about scraps because I bought, now where is it? Here it is. I've got so much yarn and everything around me now. I bought this, which is the 52 Weeks of Scrap Yarn Projects for Crafters by Lina. Now, I love Lina books. This one is no exception. It's a beautiful hardback book. I know that it is already sold out. They're doing a second printing. I think that is really positive. I think it really does speak to the fact that as knitters, particularly if we've been knitting for a while, we accumulate a lot of scrap yarn. It's those extra balls that we have sitting in our stash after we've finished a project. It's those little scraps that we've got left over, half balls here and half balls there and a mini skein here and a mini skein there. And eventually we end up with, yes, a not too inconsiderable amount sitting in the stash. So I also have that, of course. And so I got this book because I thought maybe it would help me unlock some of that. So I think the Burl shawl would work really well for scraps, but I think if you're looking for other scrap ideas, then this is a very good investment to get. There are some really beautiful patterns. It includes both crochet and knitted patterns. So here is a crochet pattern that I just think is absolutely beautiful. It's Favo, it's called, and it's knitted in it's crocheted in 2 colours, but really you could crochet that in however many colours you wanted. You could choose a main colour for the white, and then the second colour, I don't know if you can see, but it's like a dark brown. But basically you could use all your scraps there. So I think that's a really exciting project and one that I've got my eye on. And then it's got some beautiful shawl designs as well that I really like. See if I can find them. It's laid out very well into socks and hats. I thought this was very pretty. This is called Forma. So basically you've got some embroidery on your knitting here, and you've got this lovely edging created, added onto this kind of stockinette band. It has Colour As You Go by Anna Husman. I really like Anna Husman. I've got a few of her patterns in my favourites on Ravelry. She does a lot of, feels like quite organic intarsia, and I'm really quite excited about exploring that a little bit more for myself. This beautiful blanket here, is that not just stunning? Made with all of these gorgeous knitted hexagons. That's called the Yeah. And I'm trying to find the, there it is. Now this is called Lanes of Joy, and it's a crochet pattern, and it's made with holding multiple strands of mohair together, which is quite helpful, I think, because I also have like a random ball of mohair here and there as well, but I've got a whole box full of random balls of mohair, so that would be a handy project to have. And then there's this amazing one which is called Conpito Candy, and it's by Hiromi Glover. And it's this one here, and it's the one that is actually on the cover, which when I first looked at that, I thought that was crochet, but it's not. It's a knitted scarf, and I think you could just really go to town with that and have a lot of fun with all of your different scraps and things. So there's like just so many beautiful patterns in it. The paper is lovely. The quality of the publication is of course stunning. It has some really interesting ideas. Look at this very cool headband here. Isn't that fabulous? It's kind of almost 70s psychedelic. It's also got some amazing bags. So this is called Hortensia by Eliza Hinks. And it's in linen stitch, holding strands together to create a worsted, or is it holding 2 strands of worsted? Stripes may be worked with 1 strand of bulky weight or holding 2 strands of DK. There you go, or 3 strands of 4-ply. So I think that could be a lot of fun. And then I wanted to show you the last project in the book because I do think it is absolutely beautiful. It is a colour work bum bag, as we would call that in the UK. And it's got instructions for doing the lining as well. So it is a beautiful book. It's full of ideas. There are lots of different projects that use scraps in lots of different ways, whether that's for embellishment or for embroidery or for colour work or for stripes or for marling. Yeah, I think if you're looking for some inspiration, then this book is perhaps one for you, one that you might want to invest in. So I just wanted to share that. But yes, I think the Burl is also a very good design for using up your scrap yarn. So if you want to give that a go, like I said, the Burl will be available on Friday, and yeah, I hope you really enjoy it. I hope you really enjoy knitting it. Okay, what do I have next for you? Okay, we've got one finished object, and then we have quite a few whips. I've got quite a few things ongoing. You might remember that a wee while back, I had kind of had to put my knitting needles down for a wee while, and that was because I had what I was calling knitter's elbow, kind of like tennis or golfer's elbow. There was pain in both of my elbows, which was then extending down into both my forearms, and that meant that I wasn't able to knit for pretty much the whole month of March. And so I lasted maybe a couple of days, and then I picked up my crochet hook and I started on a project that I had my eye on for a very long time. It is from the Pom Pom Crochet Anthology. Now, there was something about the action of crochet that didn't aggravate my elbow in the same way that the knitting did, and so I was able to kind of work on this lovely project, which just brought me a lot of joy. So it's called Lemonata, and it's by Anna D, and she's knitted hers using Kelbourne Mojave, which I think is a linen cotton blend, and it's a sport weight. I knitted mine using, I've got another little scrap of it here. This is BC Garn Smilla, which is 100% wool, and it's also in a sport weight. Now, I am not, I wouldn't say I'm a very accomplished crocheter. I am an enthusiastic beginner. But I am picking up, and certainly, spending more time with my crochet hook has certainly developed my fluency with it, and I now feel as though I have like proper rhythm and I have like a good tension. But I did notice that when I crocheted the first motif, because this is a piece that's made one motif at a time, and then you join them as you go. So you're connecting them to the other motifs around. So you're kind of building the project, you're building the top. I realized that my motifs were bigger than the ones specified in the pattern. Now, I could have gone down a crochet hook size, but I probably still would have struggled to have got the gauge. And so instead what I did was I measured what I did have, and then I looked to see, what are the various different sizes of the pattern, and then calculated how many motifs I needed in order to get the size for myself. And so I ended up crocheting size 2, but I think it actually gave me the dimensions for size 3. So it was a big undertaking. It was a bit of a labour of love by the end, but and I'm completely blowing out. But here we go. This is the Lemonata. Now I'm going to try it on for you because I think it'd be easier to see it that way. Like I said, it was a labour of love because I think, well, actually I can look up the, here we are. So here is the Lemonata. Isn't it rather fabulous? I am really pleased with this. I think it is beautiful. But yes, as for how many motifs, it tells me in the pattern. The second size is comprised of 188 motifs. So you are working for quite a long time to create all of these. I'm going to see if I can get up a little bit on my knees here, just to show you. Very elegant, Amy. But just to show you kind of where it comes to on me, and I'm blowing out terribly again. See if I can, there we go. So you can see that it's kind of coming just to my natural waist. I thought it would be perfect for dresses. The sleeves are quite long. They did extend it, once I washed and blocked it, the sleeves did lengthen quite a bit, which I think is okay. I think I'm okay with that. I'm not sure whether the neck is entirely sitting properly, and so I am considering adding another row of motifs to the back, just to kind of bring in the piece there a little bit better, bring in the neckband a little bit better there. But that is my Lemonata. It's really nice. It's got, because it's wool, it's perhaps a little bit warmer than the original. Like I said, I see myself wearing it over dresses rather than with trousers because of the cropped nature of it. And yeah, I did have one issue with it, which was when I got about maybe 2/3 of the way through, I discovered that my next couple of skeins were actually a different dye lot. And so I thought, actually, looking at it, that I was possibly not going to be able to wear it, but I decided to keep going with it. I'm going to show you, see if you can see. I'm not sure whether it'll pick up, but you can kind of see there's two different dye lots. Now, I've managed to kind of blend it a little bit by using some Dylon hand wash, which is a commercial dye, and I bought it online, and I gave it a go. It was a real faff. I'm not sure it made a huge amount of difference, but maybe it made just enough to make it a little bit less noticeable. And I do think now that it's washed and blocked and dried and dyed that perhaps it's actually okay. It's not, I mean, you can see there, I think, but I think maybe the camera is picking up a little bit more than you would see in real life. So, you know, every project has its learning points, doesn't it? And I think if it's a skill that you're not particularly familiar with, then perhaps there'll be more learning than otherwise. But I am really proud of this. This was, like I said, a huge amount of effort. I'm really pleased with the result. I do think I might add a little, you can see from maybe here to here, I might add an extra row of motifs in, which would be super easy to do, and I think that would just kind of close the neckline a little bit and make it a little bit more easy to wear, and it might even bring up the sleeves slightly as well by providing a little bit more structure here. So I'm going to give that a go, but overall, like I said, I'm actually fair delighted with it. So that's Lemonata by Anna D from the Pom Pom Crochet Anthology, which I'm not sure is still available. Unfortunately, Pom Pom is no longer producing magazines, and I'm not sure whether the actual magazines are available now at all, unless you see one in a shop, obviously, but it's from the website. I think potentially you can still download digital copies though, so yes, there we go. I do actually have another publication to show you which is crochet related, and that is Lina's new edition, Let's Crochet. So I was on a crochet kick. I was in Ginger Twist when I was looking for the beautiful colours for the kits, and while I was there, I ended up going home with this. But then look at these, I love this. And then matching gloves with your leftovers, beautiful. So this is an edition from Lina which just features crochet projects. That is just stunning. I love this so much. And look at this. Now, I really, really love this, but it is crocheted in mohair, and my last attempt to crochet in mohair was not a success in particular. Isn't that just amazing? I love that. Rosary. And then, it's got really good articles in it. It's got this really cool bag which kind of matches that headband that I showed you in the scrap yarn version edition. Look at this. I'm not that keen on the colours of that, but I do love the shape, and I love the neck on that with the ribbing running up the front. Look at these. So there's just so many like really cool patterns. I think this would be another one of those big labours of love. I think there's a huge amount of crocheting that goes into that particular one there. But look at it. Isn't it beautiful with the little teardrop at the back and the neck? So yes, just amazing patterns, beautiful articles, and there's the one that's on the front. Look at that shoulder detail. So yes, I think this is an incredible investment. I can't remember how much it cost now, but there's 17 patterns, which is, you know, good value for money. I think it was around about £20, something like that. But yeah, just very impressed with it. It's a lovely little bag as well. Very sweet. So yes, Lina's brought out this beautiful crochet magazine, and yeah, I recommend that as well if you are a crocheter. Okay, so onto the whips. Will we see what I've been working on? So what will I start with? I'm going to move all of this down so that I can see what I've got here more clearly. So the thing that I've been working on in the evenings, on calls, the thing that I don't really have to pay that much attention to is my Vertices Unite. So I'm knitting this in the Yarn Collective 4-ply in their Fleurville collection, which was a palette curated by Bee Mandarines, who's Melody Hoffman. And it's no longer available, unfortunately, but I did buy quite a selection of the skeins. So, and this is what I have so far. So Vertices Unite is by Stephen West. It is a modular knit. And so you begin with this big section here, which is, you've got increases leading up to this point, and then you're decreasing down to a point. There we are. And then you are picking up stitches, and then you're going to knit this little section here. So this is section 2. And these are all striped. So you can see that I've used 2 colours here and 2 colours here. And then for the third section, you pick up stitches just in the very centre here, and then you knit back and forth, picking up a stitch at either edge until you get to this point here. And at that point, you're going to only pick up stitches on this edge to create this long rectangular shape. And now I am on up to this point here when we start the decreases. So now I'm coming down to a point. and then I will be cracking on with the next section. I think when I looked at my colours and the colour placement in the pattern, I realised that I am going to have to start switching things around and going slightly off-piste. So let me show you what colours I have. Now you might remember that I was going to use a very special skein of mohair, which I can show you, which was a gift. I think this is Miss Babs, and it was a Rhinebeck colourway. Isn't that absolutely stunning? And I added it in, and it didn't do anything for the project, and more sadly the yarn was, the beautiful shades in the yarn were completely swallowed up and lost. So I ripped that back because it is such a special skein. I want it to be, you know, showcased, and I don't want to get lost in a project. So so I'm back to just using the 4-ply. So I've got this light grey, I've got this kind of darker grey brown, and then I have this pink here. These are all the shades that I've already been using. And then this fun shade here, which is called Poppy. It's one of the few that I can remember. And then I've got this one here, and this is a full skein. I've not yet used this for any of the other sections. Now I have a section coming up that is, oh, I've just lost the ball, which is going to put these two together. And I'm slightly concerned that there's not enough contrast between those two. So, but although when I look at that on the screen, actually, it does look like there's more contrast. So maybe it will work. I don't know. So I'll make a decision when I come up to that point, I think. But yeah, I've got a few more sections still to do. And then what this project is, I think, most famous for is its enormous I-cord, because you are either, obviously you've got some stitches on hold here, or you've got stitches to pick up along these edges here and do an absolutely massive I-cord border the whole way around what is already shaping up to be a very large shawl. So I am really enjoying this. It's all garter. I think the whole thing is garter. Garter and stripes and modular knitting, and it's just it's easy. I don't have to think too much, but it's creating a very visually stunning piece. So there we go. That's my Vertices Unite by Stephen West in the Yarn Collective 4-ply. And I think I got that from Love Knitting, from the website Love Knitting. And this is the bag that I'm keeping it in, which is a lovely bag by Pajouta Makes, which was also a lovely gift. So I'm going to pop all of my skeins of yarn back in here, so I'm ready for when I'm finishing off this this large third section, and yeah, all set to cast on or to begin the fourth. Next up, what do I have? Okay, I can't quite remember all the things that I've got. This is a little summer top that I've cast on for myself. I'm using Drop Spell in this lovely dark navy shade. Now I have Drop Spell in white, like a pure white, not in an off-white, but like a pure white. And I also have it in kind of, in fact, the same colour as my nails, kind of like a cornflower blue. And so if this top goes well, then I'm thinking I'm going to knit myself another couple in the same, using the same pattern. And this is the Sabai top by Suzanne, oh my goodness, name is slipping my mind, Suzanne Miller, Paula Strict, she goes by Paula Strict. So basically it's quite an interesting construction actually. You are casting on at the top and you're knitting some ribbing, a little bit of stockinette to start with, which I think is going to then create kind of a bit of a rolled hem, rolled neckline. And then we've got a little bit of ribbing, and in the ribbing you are doing some increases. and those increases are going to sit just on the shoulder here. And now I'm knitting just the front. Let me see, here we go. This is the front here. Oh, it's got on quite small needles, so. And you're including kind of a ribbed section here, just at the armhole. And then you start to do some armhole shaping, which is just what I'm on just now. And then you're going to do the back the same as the front, and then join for under the arms, and then knit the body. I am really loving how this yarn is knitting up. It's a super affordable yarn from Drops. I think on Wool Warehouse it's £2 a ball, and with the specifications, I think I'm knitting the 4th size, and that will use 5 balls of Drop Spell, I think. Fingers crossed. I will report back. But yes, so that's quite, like I said, it's quite an affordable option. It means that your yarn costs are then just £10 per top. And I think I'm hopeful. I really like a straight neck. I like a boat neck, and I really like a cowl neck, and I like a V-neck. I'm not as keen on a round neck, or like a round t-shirt neck. I prefer something a little bit different from that. Sometimes that feels on me a little bit preppy, and this feels a little bit more elegant. So I kind of like that sort of elevated style. So for the basics. So I'm excited about this. I'm enjoying knitting it. I literally just cast it on the other day there. It's not taking in fact I cast it on the day before yesterday. So it's not taking very long to knit. It's knitted in DK on size 4mm needles. In fact, I think you use 4mm needles for the whole project. So yes, like I said, if that one goes well, then I will cast on one in white and one in blue, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. And then I have one last project to show you, and then I've got some yarn acquisition to show you. So this next pattern, this next cast on, I've not made a huge amount of progress on it. It took me quite a long time to kind of find a pattern that I really liked, that I thought would really work. My cousin is getting married next month, and we are attending a wedding party the following month in July, and I have a beautiful dress that I bought in Anthropology last year. It was quite expensive, certainly expensive for me, and I only got to wear it a couple of times last year. So I would really like to wear that dress, and it is a beautiful blue. Again, I'm having a blue moment. It's my blue period. It's a beautiful blue dress with kind of like fine white stripes going through it. It's got a gold zip in the front. It's got some shirring and elastic around the waist, and then it's got quite a full long skirt. And I was thinking what would really be beautiful with that is a white lace cardigan. Now, you might remember, gosh, was it earlier this year or was it last year? I cannot remember. I've got a feeling it was last year. I won 5 skeins of Walcott Yarns Opus from A Yarn Story, which is a lovely yarn shop in Bath that I've never been to, but I really enjoy Carmen's newsletters and everything that she shares on Instagram. So, and she also has a wonderful podcast too. So I was thrilled to win 5 skeins of yarn. So I chose the splashed white colourway, which is just this natural white, and then I realised that actually that in the Woolly Good Gathering last year I had bought 3 skeins of mohair silk undyed from Zakami, and actually the two are perfect together. So holding the two together, I've cast on the Jean cardigan by Colibri, who is Joanna Mueller. It is a project that combines these kind of garter sections and kind of old shell lace. So as you can see, I've not got, you can see it maybe slightly better there. I've not got that far. I've really just begun. It's knitted top down. I found the pattern to be a little confusing, if I'm honest. It has charts and it also has a lot of written parts to it as well. They recommend that you read through the whole piece and then the whole pattern before you begin, which I did, and I still messed up on my neckline increases, which I noticed pretty quickly and was able to fix. But yes, I find the pattern's a little bit convoluted, but I'm managing fine, and I think it will be incredibly beautiful. It's a lovely, lovely pattern. It's got, I think, a double knit button band, which looks really smart. And my idea is I'm knitting it a slightly with slightly less positive ease, and I want it to be a little bit cropped because of the style of the dress, but I'll be able to, because it's being knitted top down, I'll be able to try it on with the dress and get like exactly the right length to go with that. Now obviously, as I said, this wedding party will be in July, and I am knitting a wool mohair cardigan to go with it. I think in the UK there are no guarantees in July that we're going to get warm weather, but particularly later on in the evening, I think it could be a nice fluffy piece to keep me cozy, but particularly seeing as the dress is sleeveless. But also, I think it's going to be a piece that I can get a lot of use of afterwards as well. I don't think it's going to be just a knitted garment to go with this particular dress. So that's really exciting. So that's the Jean Cardigan by Colibri. I think that's all of my whips. So then that just leaves me with some yarn that I was given by my mum. Now, she purchased an advent calendar for herself and for me from Rose Dyeworks, who is a wonderful dyer based down in South Africa. And Mum opened up hers in the lead up to Christmas, which is, the normal time to open up an advent calendar. However, I didn't receive mine until we met up in Paris on our way to New York in January. And so I kept mine for quite a while because I kept thinking, well, I want to be able to open it up at like a significant moment, but I could never quite think of what my significant moment would be. So eventually I decided that I was going to open it up in the lead up to Beltane. So we just had Beltane on the 1st of May. It's a Celtic festival, and we have in the Celtic wheel we have 4 what are called Sabbats and 4 Esbats. And the Sabbats are the equinoxes and the solstices, and the Esbats kind of sit in the kind of 6-week interims between those Sabbats. So you have Beltane, you have Lammas, you have Samhain, and you have Imbolc. And so we had Beltane on the 1st of May. And that's something that gets celebrated here in Edinburgh, up at Calton Hill. There's the Beltane Society, and they put on this big performance, and there's lots of performance art going on up at Calton Hill. And basically you can buy tickets and you can go and participate and witness. But you can also sign up with the society and become a volunteer to help her put on this kind of big performance. And then they do another one again at Samhain, which of course is Halloween, and that's always a big lovely event too. So worth checking out if you're in Edinburgh around about those times. But really, for us personally, you can honour these particular Esbats and Sabbats however you like. The reason why I'm mentioning them actually is because I'm feeling the call to really honour these Celtic festivals much more for myself, and I can see them informing the timing or the structure of my podcasts and my YouTube channel here a lot more moving forward in the future. So I'm thinking of moving to a 6-week schedule here on the channel, with much more regular and much briefer little vlogs being shared on my Patreon. So if you want to keep up with kind of the more weekly ongoings, then you might want to sign up as a Patreon. And again, the link to that will be in the description box. And then every 6 weeks, I'm hoping to try and share an episode which has some video footage in it, perhaps some music, like focuses on what I've been knitting, and yeah, for it to be a bit more curated and a bit more edited. So that's kind of what I'm thinking moving forward. I'm quite excited about that as like a creative project where each episode can kind of stand more as an artistic object. Now, whether I achieve that or not is an entirely different story, but I think it's fun to kind of have that directionality in mind, and also to allow something to evolve. You know, this podcast has been going now since 2020. We are now in 2025, and I think it's okay to allow things to grow and change and evolve and transform into whatever it is that they're becoming. And so I think that means something is alive. It shows that it's able to adapt and evolve. So yeah, and I want my podcast to feel alive. I want my creativity to feel alive. And so this is one of the things that I'm doing, that I'm exploring to see how that influences my own creative self-expression. Maybe this is the Venus in Aries. I am pleasing myself. So yes, that's kind of where my focus on the SBATs and Sabbats are coming in. But I decided that I was going to open up this beautiful Advent in the lead up to Beltane, and it's a lovely Advent. It is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 skeins, 12 mini skeins of single ply merino, and 2, 4, 6 little skeins of, is that right? Yes, 6 little skeins of mohair, and this is them. Can you see them? Aren't they absolutely stunning? Now these, make sure they don't all slide out here. Now these have been dyed using the inspiration of John Simmons' artwork, particularly his artwork of the Midsummer Night's Dream. There we go. So that's some of the inspiration artwork here. Now, can you see how beautifully that captures it? Each one of these little skeins is just like a piece of art in and of itself. Let me fish one out to show you. Can you see all of those beautiful colours? And then let me find a different one here. Here's a lovely purple one. How stunning is this? And then here's another little skein, a lighter blue one, but it's got kind of these beautiful flecks in it that are just, the speckles are just exquisite. Oh, this is also a very pretty one. Although the more you look at them, you're like, oh, that's a very pretty one too. Look at that one. Isn't that gorgeous? And then the mohair. Let me show you the mohair. Look at this. Isn't it such a lovely idea to include mohair mini skeins in alongside? There's a nice little pink one. And then we've got this gorgeous one here. It's kind of all these purpley and lilac tones. And here's another one. This is the last one I'll show you. It's a little bit more variegated, but look, it's like, I don't know, it's like spun water. It's like the colour glimmering off a pond or something. It's absolutely beautiful. So there we go. That's what I've been opening and enjoying in the lead up to Beltane. But yes, I haven't decided what it is that I'm going to knit with it. Mum and I think that, because Mum has obviously got the same set, so we are thinking it might be fun to knit something together, but we haven't quite settled on a project. So if you have an idea for a project, that we could knit with our skeins. So that's 12, I think that was 12 mini skeins in the single ply and 6 in the mohair. So if you've got any ideas of what it is that we could knit with that, you can maybe let us know. Maybe there's something in one of my beautiful scrap yarn. Maybe we could do like one of the Merle jumpers or something. I don't know. I think we were thinking more along the lines of a shawl, naturally. But yes, maybe you could let me know if you've got an idea of what it is that we could knit with that beautiful advent set. And yeah, maybe you could also let me know if you're planning to cast on the Burl, what kind of ideas you have for your fringing. What do you think you would knit it in? I'm really excited to see how people start to have fun with fringe. Okay, my loves, well, I think that kind of brings us almost to a close. Of course, now I can't find my phone anywhere, and it has my closing poem on it. I found it, eventually. So the poem that I want to close us out with is really, it's a poem that I wrote actually quite a long time ago, maybe even 15 years ago or so. But I thought it was kind of perfect for the launch of the Burl, which is really about dancing and about joy and connection and self-expression. So this poem is called Take Your Partners, Please, and it's really written from the perspective of going to a ceilidh, and a ceilidh is a Scottish dance, and yeah, where we all do our Scottish country dancing, which is something we all learn in primary school in our PE gym classes. So it's something that most Scottish people have a familiarity with. So take your partners, please. I remember moving across the dance floor, linseed oil glissando, your hand pressing into the small of my back, holding me tight, holding me close. We two stepping in time, feet moving in tandem, taking in the expanse of the ballroom, avoiding other couples less agile, less graceful, less passionate than we. The twirls require epic endurance. 1, 2, 3, 4, then sweeping into swift polka for another count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back into hold. My breathing is heavy and laboured, while my cheeks are pink roses flushed. Whereas you are hardly breaking a sweat. You seem so in control, so steady, so constant, and I am breathless. Giddy and breathless, and so in love with you that it feels like our first dance together, and I am a girl of just 18, naive, enraptured and true. Our first time moving to the music, our bodies held close, our scents mingling and our eyes locked. The world retreats around us and the music fades until I cannot hear it anymore. All I can hear is the thud of my heart as it tries to catch up to the beat of the band. It's like no one else exists, like we're dancing in a snow globe, sectioned off in a bubble of glass, unaware that a world beyond our togetherness exists. Our problems, our troubles, our cares ceased to matter the moment we assumed our position. And now the dance comes to a close, and the sheer joy of being transported starts to fade. Holding hands, we make our way back to our seats. No sooner have we sat down than the caller announces the next dance. Our eyes connect and we speak without words. Will you dance? With you, my darling, always. So, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I hope that it's transported you. I hope that it's brought you joy. I hope that it's inspired you. And yeah, I'm wishing you happy making, and I will be back. I'm looking like coming back on summer solstice, but over on the Patreon, I'll be there much more regularly. And yeah, look out for the Burl on Ravelry and Payhip. It will launch, as I said, this Friday, which you might be seeing this on Friday, or you might be seeing it over the weekend after, but do go and check it out. I would love to see what your ideas are for making the Burl, what yarn you would use, and what you're thinking for the fringe. And yeah, I'll see you really soon. Take good care.